It's like the iPad knows I'm trying to, like I'm on.
It's because I'm here, isn't
Yeah, yeah.
it?
You're putting bugs in my
Safe
in my
right.
Zoom. Um, where does that crotchet lay? What beat? The vocal, the crotchet vocal.
Four.
Four? Yep.
Fourth.
Right.
Yeah, cool. So we got two beats of rest. Then we got a third beat of rest with a fermata on it, which means just wait.
Okay.
And then we've got you've done 4-1. Okay. That's pretty straightforward.
When it means wait, does it mean wait for the vocalist?
You're gonna, in this context, because every song's a bit different, we've got a fermata and then we've got a caesura, which is also referred to as tram tracks. Bless you. Caesura. We've got fermata and then we've got a caesura, which is colloquially referred to as tram tracks. Generally, so what this is saying is you hold, it's over the chord, so you hold the chord, and then the caesura says you cut off indefinitely. Now if you're in like an audition scenario, you'd wait for the vocalist. I'd wait for the vocalist. If there was like a full big band kind of orchestral moment, you'd wait for the MD to cue the vocal in. Like it would go be do da da do 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 dee da famara cut off, and then I go 3. You've got that thing. Whatever that song is, I don't know how it goes.
I don't know.
That's it. It's just my terrible sight singing. So, but the short answer is yes, I'd wait for the vocalist. It's just tricky because the accompaniment is exactly on beat 4 as well. So it would be very clunky to both get that at the same time with the caesura. I would actually, if I was bringing this on audition, I'd actually get rid of that beat 4 of the accompaniment so that you could just sing your note and not worry about the pianist playing it at the same time as you. It just gets very
Messy.
very messy. Cool. What beat is
Sorry.
prohibition?
I think that's what I want to do. Anyway.
You can shove it. My solution.
I love that
Is
you
that
did
it?
it straight away.
It's
Wait,
so
what is
good.
that?
I think I
I
want
was
to do that.
born in a ditch
Yeah.
in the West. All right.
Party.
Wild Party.
Oh yeah, right.
We'll look at it later because there's brilliant rhythms in that. So many tricky rhythms. Now, what do we got here? What beats do got that thing sit on?
One, two,
You can just
three, and
do a word at a time.
So got would be the first one, like you've already done.
1. Yep.
Um, and then would it go the second beat for that?
Yep.
Then wait, are we placing 4 beats?
Yeah, I want to place 4 beats because we're in common time, which is 4/4.
And so would the thing be a line as well, but then just before you've would be the fourth. Is that correct?
Just before you've.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is because the vocal line doesn't, I find it hard to find 4 based on the vocal line. I'll look at the piano accompaniment in the bass. There's a clear 4. So go on. There's a clear 4. Doing a comedy show.
Sorry that was so loud. It must have been right on the mic. Like,
That was great. Love it. See how the bass is doing 4? Bump, 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 bump. So
yeah.
that's my grid. That's my reference point. So I'm going to go got that thing, and because I can see that there's a 4 here, but how many quavers does my dotted crotchet last for?
three.
Pardon?
Yeah. Sorry, did you say pardon?
Yeah, I didn't know what you said. Sorry.
Ah, I just asked for how many quavers does the dotted crotchet last for?
1, 3.
Yeah, so that because one crotchet
Uh-huh.
is equal to two quavers,
Mhm.
and then the dot adds another quaver to it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. So I always recommend the first thing that you do is divide your bar into 8 components. Draw your fours first and then draw your ands. That way I can see that I don't really need to worry about the crotchets. They're going to last for 1 and 2. Okay. But that thing, the word thing, is going to last for 3 quavers. So at that point, I can go, okay, it's going to last for that quaver because each of these components are quavers.
Hmm.
That's a quaver, that's a quaver. So that's going to last for 3 and 4,
Yeah.
which means that the last remaining word is going to go on and.
Yes.
So it's going to 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. So the bar goes like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Now if I was to play it, make a bit more sense. I'll count myself in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. Do dee do ga. Whilst the bass of the piano is going. And then we can look ahead, and then just get rid of all the stuff. The rhythm of the second bar is the same. So got that thing, quaver. You crotchet, crotchet, dotted crotchet, quaver. Yeah? So already I'm getting a bit of information. I go, okay, it's the same rhythm. Got that thing, you've got that thing. If we're a bit quick, depends what the tempo is. Let's work out this third bar, shall we? So where am I going to put beat 1?
Thing.
Thing. Beat 2.
That.
That. Beat 3.
Make.
In the middle of the quaver and the quaver with the tie? No, I don't think it's, nah, it's not right.
No, because nothing is occurring between those times. It's like no man's land.
Okay.
The second beat of makes?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's a bit tricky when it's tied. Where is beat 4?
Just like in between birds and 4.
Yeah, cool. So
Line
now
bass clef.
that's great. Yeah, exactly.
E.
I'm just going to draw my and here. Don't need to worry about that too much because the word thing is going to last for 1 and. And that's my quavers. So that's going to occur over that makes. Cool. I'm going to draw the rest of my ands. And then what I'm going to do here is draw a little arrow or accent above the words that I'm going to sing. Because I want to line up. I just want to get a really strong idea of when to sing what.
Mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and thing that makes birds 4. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and things 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so with practice that'll get a bit easier, but I really want to be quite prescriptive. And then once I get comfortable with the rhythm, I can say, oh, okay, it's makes birds 4. It's long. Okay, then I can make the duration a bit longer. Things that makes birds 4. But right at the beginning, I want to make sure I land the beats. Things that makes birds 4. And it's all in the offbeat anyway. So I want to make sure that most of my words are occurring on 1, 2, and 3, and. Yeah? So here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. This I think is the same. 1, 2 and. 1, 2 and. Get to sing, yes, you've. 1, 2 and. and. And then I've got 1, 2, 3. Pretty simple. Crotchet, minim. So the minim lasts for 2 beats. Yeah?
Mhm.
And then I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'll start, sorry about the chord symbols, they get in the way, but the little guitar symbols above can make it a bit hard when you're doing this. But my tied note is going to last for a full 1 and. The word that is a crotchet, so it's going to last for 2 and.
Yeah.
Sir is a quaver, so it's just going to last for 1 component of the 3. Okay. And then turn is a crotchet, and a crotchet is 2 quavers. And remember, we've split the bar into quavers. So if it's 2 quavers, then I'm going to circle both and 4.
Yeah.
And then the last one is and a 4. So just different ways of looking at it. But right now, I can at least see that I need to hit 1, 2, 3, and the 4 of and. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Wasn't playing the right notes at all. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry, that was an and, not a 4. Let's find something more complicated, I reckon. Do you start understanding the process that I'm taking? Of breaking up the breaking up the bar into 8 equal components?
Yeah.
Or is there's you. What are you doing here? Are we going to do something else? Do something.
Cool rhythms in that song, though.
Yes, absolutely. Very tricky. We'll work up to that. All right. Kelly Clarkson?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah.
Totes.
So 4/4 is one of the first songs I ever learnt.
No.
Yeah, freaking loved it.
That's awesome.
Always wanted to sing it, but it's always too high. Before I knew about transpositions. So we're in 4/4. We just had a 2/4 bar. We'll get back to that. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you notice there's these little notes, they're very small. That applies to verse 2 lyrics. Okay, do you see that?
Yeah.
It's a bit smaller than the rest. Usually when pop songs superimpose verse 1 and verse 2 lyrics on top of each other, and if the melody is different in verse 2, they'll make the melody of verse 2 just smaller note head, so you don't get mixed up with verse 1. Not all pop songs do that, but a lot of music will do that. They're called Q notes. So these guys are Q notes when they're smaller. But all I want to do is break apart the because of. Okay, so I've got beat 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's quaver, that's quaver, that's quaver. Okay, so I can work backwards and I go, you know what? It's going to occur on and, it's going to occur on 4, it's going to occur on and of 3. So I go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So 1, 2, 3. That makes sense? Nice simple rhythm.
Do you think that it's good to learn rhythms with a song that you know so that you can make sense? Because like you know, and then you look at it and you're like, oh,
it's nice to have a reference.
Yeah.
It's also awesome to learn a song you do not know whatsoever, and then you check. That's an exercise too.
Okay.
So it's nice to have a song. You have to be very, very honest with yourself, is all I'm saying. You have to be very honest whether you're using your memory or you're actually using your analysis.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, yeah, I know it. Like when I was learning piano pieces initially, when I was playing the piano, I noticed that I learnt a lot through oral, which is probably that's the easiest way to learn a song. That's music, you know. But I wasn't able to, my reading wasn't at a point where I could just pick up a piece and learn it. But eventually, as my reading improved, I was able to pick up a piece without having to listen to it. But then you forget the whole listening process entirely. And that's kind of the whole point of music, is to listen, you know? So now I always remind myself, even if you're learning a new piece and it's easy to sight read, always listen to the song. So I can listen to the orchestration, I can listen to the colors and all that sort of stuff. But this is good because I can check it. I can see I can have a reference, you know? Now we've got 16th notes. Okay, so this would be good to kind of move into 16th notes or semiquavers. You know, previously we divided the bar into 8 parts, but now that I'm reading a bar that has a 16th note, I need to divide the bar into 16 parts. Okay, which sounds a bit laborious, but as you get better with it, you won't have to do it to all beats, but for good practice now, we'll do it to every beat, so you get an idea of what we're doing. The principle there is that you shrink the bar to its finest components, to the smallest note value. Because if you shrink it to the smallest note value, it means that you can work out exactly where it's placed. If you just do quavers, you won't exactly know where to put the semiquavers. You can approximate, but you want to sort of be a bit more precise. So I'll just get rid of our bar chord symbols. So the notion here is that that's our 1. This is our 2. This is our 3.
So there'll be 1 E and
Yeah. So I can see already that that's a 1 because there's 2 quavers. 2 semiquavers plus a quaver is a full beat, okay? Because the 2 semiquavers is 16 and 1 quaver is an 8. Don't get too hung up about that. 2 semiquavers is a quaver, so therefore 2 quavers are a beat. These are 2 quavers, that's a whole beat. This is a quaver, 2 semiquavers, which is 2 quavers in total. So I can see where my beats are. So what I'm going to do is 1 E and A, yep, as you said. 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A. Now the first one, 2 quavers. So 2 quavers, I need to block off my... That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 2... I'm blocking up the 1 and, really. I see what I've done. What are you laughing at? Although something funny happened. That's great. 1 E and A. Wanandia. Turn into Yoda. Cool. So that's my first 2 quavers. It's just 1 and. I don't have to overcomplicate it. Never is 2 16th notes. So it's going to be 2 E. And then the last quaver is going to go on the and. That's a full quaver. So it's 2 16ths. Joseph's here. I wonder if he was here for the intermediate. I'll let him in anyway. Hey, buddy. Not sure if you're here for here or for later, but you do you. Okay.
I was there.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Sorry.
Love it. So we've got our 2 and, which is never stray, and then I've got the next 2. That's going to be on a quaver, and we've just coming off from a tied quaver. So the next note is going to be on the and then the next one is far, and that's a quaver, so it lasts for 2 16th notes. And then the next 16th notes are from the, which is going to be my and are 4. Now, might look a little bit daunting, but let's see what we can do, right? So the first one is 1 and. Okay, so I'm going to draw just a little accent to make sure that I know it's two quavers. One and then the next one is two-e and. Two-e and. So the rhythm so far goes one and two-e and. You, I never stray. One and two-e and. Then the next one is on the and of three. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and. 1, 2, 3, and. The word is two, so 1, 2, 3, 2. So hopefully if I can join those together, it's going to go, you, I never stray, two. 1 and 2-e and. Does that make sense so far, guys? 1 and 2-e and. The next beat, and just notice that I'm doing beat by beat by beat, okay? Until you become much more proficient with it, you start to do the whole phrase in its entirety. But for now, you just take it beat by beat by beat. I've got four ander. Four ander. So if the division is 4-e ander, it's just going to go 4-e ander. Dum dee dum. 4-e ander. So far from the. So right now I'll work my way backwards. So 1, 2, 3, too far from the. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 ander. And the whole phrase 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2-e and 3 and 4 ander. And with the words 2, 3, 4. You, I never stray too far from the. And then hopefully you get to the piano. You're like, oh, cool. It's mostly all G's. Great, no worries. 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2-e and then the F sharp at the end. Yep. How you feeling about that, Jessica?
Sorry.
It's pretty dry stuff. There's no magic to it, you know what I mean? It's like learning about chords and harmony and orchestration so much more interesting.
Yeah, it's like you need to, I just need to see that be done a few more times and try to
Do you like watching it unfold?
Yes, but
Yeah,
I need to I don't know. It's really hard for me to do that even if I break it down like that. I don't know.
Yep. I'm going to do it a couple more times. This is kind of coming to the question of whether, you're a visual or a kinesthetic learner. And
Kinesthetic.
kinesthetic being doing or having to do it in some shape or form. Other people prefer to watch, and other people are more auditory, so they prefer to listen to the instructions or receive the information orally. Yeah. Good one. Must be Friday. What is he saying? He's crazy. I slept very well last night. I reckon for you, this will be a combination of watching me do a few and then eventually developing your own style. And also realizing down the track that it's not as complicated as I'm making it out to be, which is interesting, but the complication is kind of important to actually get the foundation of what's happening.
Yeah.
Because once you push through that, you'll come out the other end with like superpowers. Make sense? Great.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No. No.
Yes. It's not that, but just
Yeah, that'd be great. Good tune. Good tune. All right, Ladies a Tramp. That's why the Ladies a Tramp.
Love
Beat
it.
1, beat 2, beat 3. So now we start to get used to seeing this dotted crotchet. The dotted crotchet is for 3 quavers. So 3 and 4 and, which means if the dotted crotchet lasts for 3 quavers, 1, 2, 3, the last word's going to be on the and of 4. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4. Rest, she gets 2. Rest, 2, 3, and. Then we can move on. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're telling me. It's great. It's a good time. Yay, tomatoes coming. So hungry. Hungry appears on beats 1 and 2. You happy with that? The minimum of gree is going to last for 2 beats, so it goes over beats 2 and 3. Hi, Tamana. And 4 is going to occur on beats 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hungry 4. Okay, this is almost too easy, I reckon. But let's keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this bar, I actually see that the last 2 words of the bar are crotchets. So I kind of work backwards. I go, if the last 2 are crotchets, that must be on beats 3 and 4. And if the first word is on beat 1, then I kind of just need to discover what's happening with the second syllable of dinner. And we see the dotted crotchet again. And so we start to get into the habit of like, well, if I see a dotted crotchet, the next beat will occur on what? Specifically to this bar. Where's ner of dinner going to occur on?
The end of 2.
End of 2. Yeah, because din is going to occur for 3 quavers, and then my 4th quaver is the end of 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Dinner there. Dinner at. Oh no, sorry. I'm so. The song's not meant to be this slow. Dinner at. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Who else wants to do it?
Hard. It's hard.
1, 2, and 3, 4. It's easy to go 1, 2, and 3, 4. Dinner at. Dinner at. Not. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, guys. I think I'm breaking down. I think I've sort of. There's a wire loose. I'm gonna start shutting down any second. Dinner at 8. Yeah, it just doesn't want to be that slow. Dinner at 8. Usually it's that. Dinner at 8. Not dinner at 8. It's too slow for this song. Ting. At dinner at 8. There is definitely like. Most people don't sing it like that rhythm anyway. Anyway, most people don't do it. Let's take a couple minutes and reset. Don't know what that means, but I just want to get some water. So just take a couple minutes and I'll be back in a minute, okay? For more frivolities.
Oh.
But I can't hear you because I don't have my headphones, so I'm taking a break.
Yeah. I hear if the teacher doesn't show up for like 15 minutes, it means we can leave.
I used to live by that rule. I don't know if I should stay for this half because it's really hard.
I'd do it. Come here. Come here. I mean, unless you got something better to do.
No, I just have a lot of homework, but I guess this is a good procrastination.
Exactly.
No, you're right. I'm going to stay. I'm going to do it.
Good. Solid. Elite.
So but if he's not here in 15 minutes.
Then we're out. Like, we're so out.
I'm going to get a drink. Guys, how pretty are these sunflowers? Sunflower.
So pretty.
I love that.
There's only 3. But...
Have you seen that meme where it's like sunflowers grow towards the sun, but if there's no sun, they grow towards each other?
No.
Right? And then it's like that thing, a whole thing of like, bro, where's the sun? And he was like, why are you looking at me? He's like, you are my son. And I was like,
Oh. That's
it was
funny.
cute.
That's cute.
Oh, she's back.
And we're back. I was just gazing outside, looking at the sun. You know how it is. Hi, Marissa.
Hi.
Lovely headshot.
Hello.
Looking fabulous.
Yeah, Oh, thanks. I do not look like that right now.
This sultry side.
Nope, not a chance.
Well, welcome. I was just taking a couple minutes to rehydrate, recharge, just plug myself back in, you know.
Yep.
All right. What do we want to know, guys? What do we? What's insatiable taste? What are we vibing? Usually it's always chords. I feel like the kids want to know chords. Tell us more about chords. You know, I want to sound cool.
Oh my god, there was something I was thinking about yesterday, and I can't remember.
That's not good.
Nothing.
Talk about chords. I'll talk about chords. I'll try though weave it into a bit of analysis as well. So let's look at "Let Me Drown." This is quite a difficult piece. Very quick. So we get this in two direction, which means that we've got a cut common feel or groove, and the time emphasis is going to be on beats 1 and beats 3. 1, 2, 2, 2. And usually when something's in 2, there's a general assumption that it's going to be a bit quicker. Not always. General assumption. I've changed my mind. Let the ding 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 ding. So each bar is gonna go for 2 beats. So if you were to rehearse this as a group or whatever, that's how you'd count the beats rather than 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to give you a bit of analysis, we've got our low A, tremolo. So for a pianist, they'll alter between the notes. Generally, that's associated with the bass drum or snare drum, or I think in this, like it's very much a circus kind of showy kind of vibe. That kind of vibe. Know what I'm saying? That's a vibe. You know, showman kind of thing. Bass drum. Not bass drum. Toms, sorry. That's more of a snare though, so my apologies. And it's also marked with a forte piano. Okay, so when something's forte piano, you hit it hard and then you go immediately soft. So yeah, you definitely hear a. And so if I was to play this. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for, the cloud takes the center ring. Yeah? So there's more Wild Party for you guys playing at home. This says freely because there's no rhythm. It's just a fermata note. There's nothing really happening. So I've got my fermata, which is pause indefinitely, wait for dialogue, and then probably once I get the clown takes the center ring and kunk. Kunk is my translation for hard accent. I don't know where I found it, but it's just what I do. It's what I say. And it is. Look, you've got your forte and you've got an accent, and the drums would be kicking in. The whole rhythm section would be kicking in. Snare drum and kunk. This is tricky because that chord symbol they've written there is totally wrong. Good on your music notes. The G sharp -7 flat 5, but not a G sharp -7. It's tricky for most. That is a male repertoire song, but from my experience, it's just tricky because the chord comes in and then you just got to pitch your note. You know, you don't have any time. You just got to go. B9. This part is generally free. I'm going to see if I can find the piano conductor. Sorry, guys. Let me drown. No. There we go. Cool. Floor tom roll. There it is. And obviously I've done this with someone and they probably said, I'm going to turn around when I'm about to sing. And I've written, turn around. Great. No worries.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
And even in the piano conductor score, they've said play a tremolo in measure 1 for rehearsal if no drums. Okay, and that's quite common to not have drums unless you're in America, or have a lot of money. Then the drums will be in the rehearsal room, or if you're developing a new musical, generally on Broadway. As you do. But here it's saying floor tom roll, that sort of thing. It says tutti, which means everything or everyone, which means effectively the whole band, the whole orchestra will be playing at that time. And so we get this large stab. We call it a stab when it's just a short note and it's accented. And then the vocal comes in. Here it actually says bright 4 rather than in 2. In 2, bright 4, it's effectively saying the same thing. When we see the word bright, it's generally referring to a brisk tempo. The use of the word bright is generally referring to speed. That being said, you will not see dark 4. You will never see that. You just won't see it. Which is interesting. They use those adjectives, but they won't use the, was that antithesis? Anyway. Cool. Here's our slur that we were talking about yesterday. Actually, just Jessica, really. A slur is phrase marking. So already I've got stab, tongue, die, stab. So the slur is going to elicit some sort of legato phrasing. Ja, stab, ding, dong. We've got our triplets here. Again, just for you guys playing at home. 2-ender, 3-ender, 4-ender. That's how we want to split up our triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, tick. It's quite quick tempo, but in slow tempo, 1, 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. That's our triplets. Whenever you see a triplet, you break it up like that. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. That's quaver triplets. So this phrase goes 1, 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. But with the tempo, it goes ti da ti tongue. It's really hard. It's just more of an effect rather than anything special. This is just a B flat major arpeggio. Whilst the left hand is doing an ascending B flat major arpeggio. So 1. So they're moving in contrary motion. 1. Ding. Now, of course, with a full orchestra, or rather the band that plays, it's a little bit easier than the piano conductor who has to play everything. We've got this beautiful swing rhythm. Ga, ga, ga. So that's and rest. The accent occurs on the and of 1. And then this occurs on beats 3 and 4. And it's also staccato. And this is accented. So I got 1 and 3, 4. That's highly prevalent swing rhythm. Ga, ga, ga. Now I say ga, which is kind of like generally the drum player will actually do what's called a preparatory beat. Not always, but they'll prepare the beat so that the rest of the band can hit the accent. So it might be like, ding, I've changed my mind, tongue, 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 cut. Da diddly 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 cut ga. That's them doing like a floor tom and hi-hats and cymbals and stuff to kind of get the accent with the band. But you'll see that quite traditionally in a lot of swing music. And then the staccato beats 3/4. So everyone who's playing on beat 3/4 will just do short. So long, short. Ga ga ga. Which is I think flutes or piccolos we've got here, which is yeah, it's all just fun effects. So we've got I've changed my mind, doi dum. Yep, ti ta ga dum. Yep. Oh, yep. I have to do that little face. That's very important. And then we've got this is a bit more free. So we've got beats 4 along with a decrescendo. So we've just had yep with a Mikado symbol, which we don't always see. Mikado is the combination of staccato and an accent, and is seen a lot in swing music in particular, but we're going to want to hit the accent very hard as well as short. Yup. Just exactly like that, right? I like to sing the parts. It kind of gives me a better understanding of how I feel that they should sound. So we've got ga 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 dum to dulia or just for one. So that was bar 23. So he'll go, and then we've got beats 4 where the accompaniment comes back in. Then I've got this almost free section, which is aided by the diminuendo and the piano dynamic, which is eliciting tension with the tremolo. And this is a B flat over E. B flat major chord over the E bass. This is inherent tension because the B flat is getting, the bass note is a tritone away from the major chord that I'm playing in the right hand. That's going to create instant tension. Then it's what we call the pedal tone. A pedal tone is when the idea occurs, when one pitch occurs over a certain amount of time. So I've got this E that occurs for 4 bars. That also creates tension. So I've got... And for those who are looking a bit deeper into this accompaniment, we've got the B flat, then I've got C major, and then I've got B flat again, and then I've got C major. All over the E note, okay? Now, C major over E, inherently by itself, is not a tension chord at all. It's just a C major with an E in the bass. E is within the C major chord, so it doesn't create tension. But when we get the B flat before it, this is where context comes into play. When I hear the B flat before it, and then the C major, and then the B flat, that climbing creates tension. To it, I don't know what it transposes to. We'll work that out later. And then we've got crescendo, poco, poco. Get louder little bit by bit. Okay, so the performer will hopefully be getting a lot more information about how they're actually phrasing this melody to generate the tension and to get the piano dynamic. And then we get another B flat chord. Then we get our blues scale. Okay. So let's touch on the blues scale. So this is a D minor blues scale. D, flat third, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, back to the octave above. Now, when I'm using these flat 3s and flat 7s and all that business, it's in relation to D major. Okay, so D to F sharp is a major third, but the scale that I'm asking for requires a flat third. So it's going to be 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, back to the octave. We've got Olivia joining us. Where's she gone? Oh, no, she's back.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Let's talk about blues scales.
Oh, nice.
And looking at some Wild Party, which they use both of that stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got, the reason I use the 1 flat 3 business is because you can apply that formula to any other scale. But sometimes it's just nice to learn it by rote, which is D, F, G, A flat, A, C, done. And then we've got this so then the Barry sax plays it, which is quite a thick timbre, quite scratchy at times. Then the alto and tenor sax join in, just to fatten out the sound, make it a bit louder. And then the trumpets join in, probably up the octave, which is just making it louder, 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 louder. And then the bass note being an A is our dominant. So A is the 5 note of D. So when I've used the bass note when I make the bass note a dominant, it's going to create more tension, okay, rather than the end. But I'm using 5. Then I want to resolve. And I've got forte dynamic at bar 33. Cool. Any questions, guys? I'm sort of just throwing stuff out there. Sound good?
Sorry, can you just repeat what the second half of the blues scale is after the flat 5 5?
Oh yeah. So after we get to the 5,
Yeah.
flat 7, and then we just get to the octave up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a 6-note scale, by the way.
Mhm.
So it's less than our 7-note scale. Obviously, being 6 notes. So it's one less than what you're used to playing. You learn them in all the keys, you know?
Actually, I got a question about blues scales.
Yeah.
So, your blues scale is basically a pentatonic scale with an added flat 5, yes?
Yeah. Minor pentatonic, not major
Yes.
pentatonic. Yep.
So, what gives it that extra blues? Like, why is that flat 5 so important?
Good question. How can I demonstrate this? That's my answer.
Okay,
No,
just think on that.
that's half an answer. Traditionally, blues, if we start talking about the origin of blues, we have to have a really strong contextual understanding and societal understanding of where the blues came from in terms of spiritual song and I'm not going to go into that. You guys can do your research so I don't botch that. Two aspects inherently give the blues: the flat third. But I need to hear that major tonality somewhere else. The idea of the blues, though, is that over a standard blues progression, which is 1-4-5, effectively, the scale just keeps continuing. So that flat third is really important in the blues scale. But usually the flat 5 is just a bit of a flourish. You know? Whereas the minor pentatonic by itself is generally associated with like Motown or 50s music. So like... I'm still putting it in, sorry. So notice I'm in D minor at the moment, and then I'm moving to G minor, which is very like James Brown, something else of note. I don't know. But D minor, if I'm just playing a D minor 7, I'm gonna improvise a bit of minor pentatonic, which is 1 flat 3 4 5 flat 7, as you said. No flat 5, but I'm going to combine all of this stuff to get my idea across, okay? But if I'm wanting to allude to more of a blues world, then my chords, what's actually playing in terms of the harmony, like guitar or piano, is hopefully going to be alluding more to a major. The blues stuff really emanates and grows when it's through the vocal, because that's where it's originated, yeah? You know, and usually it would be like one line, repeat a line, and then the third line would be different in terms of the lyrics or the text or whatever that be. So that's really important, and that's our sharp 9 chord. Anyway, sorry, I waffled on a bit. Just to complete the picture, the major pentatonic is 1, 3. Oh no, sorry. Yeah. Is that right? I'm in a blank.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah, sorry. There's like the major pentatonic being, your black notes as well. Do you guys know that song?
What is it? I feel like
When the sun of dad inside her head gets...
Yeah.
can't say that I do it.
I'm not getting distracted, I promise. Let's talk about one thing, and then let's go all the way to the 80s or 70s or something.
So just while you're looking for that, I have one more question. In the minor pentatonics, you were saying that playing the blues, you play like a 1, 4, 5 in the bass. What do you play sort of as your bass for like a minor pentatonic? Or even a major pentatonic?
I mean, it really depends on... Oh, major?
Sorry?
For major or for minor?
For both.
Pentatonic. It sort of depends on the style, really. Like, it depends what song you're playing. What I was alluding to before, though, was like, for example, your... actually, this is a great example. This is for your major pentatonic. Mainly because the major pentatonic is generally associated with your 6 chord, your A6. So, like, for a song like this, or your major pentatonic is going to really go well with your I'm Yours, Jason Mraz. It's going to go well with any sort of uke-based song. It's going to go well with... I don't know, any other suggestions you guys want to throw in there? Yeah, it sounds a bit lame because it's not really the right idea for this song. Like, it's not exactly right. But we can see that the song, the melody, da-da-da-do-da-da-da, that's the pentatonic. Yeah. Or like that's the just small components of the pentatonic. Da-da-da-do-da-da-da-da. It has a general sort of happy, good feeling about it. Whereas if I go to something like, where's my James Brown? It's a man's world. But still, I can see the chromatics.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going a bit rogue there. But generally, your minor pentatonic is going to be really connected with soul and music that's built around the 1-4-5 of the minor variety.
Yeah.
Or just like so much soul, Alicia Keys will just be like minor chord for days. Because it's not really about the chords. It's about the soul, it's about the lyric, and it's about the melody. So your minor is going to be really good there, but you never just want to catch yourself only doing one or the other, Unless that's part of your experiment, that's cool too. But I'm going to go... So it's all pentatonic. Blues. And most people do get trapped into changing their scale if the chord changes, A lot of people go, G minor, great. But the real essence of blues and the authenticity of that sound is about going... really keeping that D minor sound going. I wanted to show you a bit of this. This is great. So. Such a good song. The whole introduction is just D sharp minor, but it's D sharp minor, but it's getting you to play around with the pentatonic scale. Who knows it? You guys know it?
Yeah.
From somewhere?
Bit of Gold 104, you know? Anyone grew up on Gold 104?
Yeah.
Still a inside her head gets switched to overload. This is our 6 and a 5 and a 1 and 4. Oh no, sorry, I'm getting it all wrong. Don't worry. I need no evil and I see no evil and I show. And then, tell me why I don't like Mondays. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. I wanna shoot. The whole day down. Right. That's how it goes. Anyway. Yes. My watch is telling me to drink water. Drink water. I got the app a few weeks ago being like, yeah, I'm going to get better. And now I just ignore it. This is a great tune for doing a bit of D sharp. The thing is, if you improvise on the black notes, you'll be fine all the time. Anyway, we've done a lot of jumping today, but hopefully you've gotten some stuff out of it.
Sorry.
just planting the seeds, planting the little seeds. From
Jets be a song that would do this.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I thought of immediately.
Dun, dun.
Benny and the Jets is awesome. Benny and the Jets is interesting because it's incorporating your 1 and it's incorporating your flat 7. But it's a flat 7 with a major 7 interval, as opposed to usually you see a flat 7 of a dominant chord. Usually you hear that sound. So what is that? Yeah, it's alluding to a bit of major pentatonic. I mean, Elton John's going to include a lot of blues, but it's not really blues at that point. It's sort of like this New Orleans kind of like
Yes.
sort of yeah, that's totally blues. That A minor 7. Yeah, great tune, really good tune. I would say that this definitely alludes to like New Orleans kind of feel, very crunchy. Yeah, that's totally major pentatonic. And if you play with the E minor blues, then because I'm using the relative minor, then you'll get the sound, which is the flat 3. I think that. I'll wrap it up with this. That's the sort of take home there, is that I'll improvise with the E minor blues, but in the E minor blues, that B flat is the flattened third of the tonic chord that I'm working with, which is G. Which on piano sounds a bit funky, but when you sing it, that's really bad, sorry. You kind of got to get off it eventually, otherwise it gets really annoying. Yeah. Doo-da, doo-da.
This
That's
sounded like
fun.
what is it? Is it Frankie Valli? Is it I love you, babe?
Yeah.
You just get da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Oh, another song. All right.
I
I just turned into that cat meme. Maybe we'll look at that next week because that has some really complex harmony. Good one, Beck. All right, friends, let's wrap up there so your heads don't explode. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you at least got a little morsel of information. And for those that already know what I'm talking about, maybe, I don't know. We've got no solution to that. Try to talk about something different in the future.